Hey, this is Gear Up Podcast. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Emily.
And we are here to bring you behind the scenes of all the badasses in the moto industry. And we're super excited because this is our first episode. And we are here with the gorgeous Reese Baker. Hey, Reese.
Nice to be
Hey,
here.
welcome, Reese. We're super stoked to have you here.
I am absolutely stoked to be here.
How are you in the moto industry?
So my dad was always really into dirt bikes, and as was my mom. Her sister was actually married to an old pro, Ronnie Tishner, and he was my dad's trainer, I think, or he knew my dad, something like that. And that's how they met. My dad ended up not continuing down the path of racing. He started building dirt bike tracks. Him and my mom ended up getting married, and since then he's built tracks all over. One of the first ones he did, and it was actually one of the first tracks I ever went to, was Villapoto's old place in Groveland, Florida, and that is now Moto Sandbox. And so, yeah, I've always been really in the sport. I was basically born into it. My brother races now. I have some family members buying dirt bikes. Yeah, we've always been super into it.
Sweet.
Yeah. Super cool. So what brought us to wanting to get you on the show was because we saw the essay that you wrote, and it actually Racer X, right? You guys they did an article on you, and honestly, I feel like this is such a great topic. I know Emily and I have always spoken about it and like kind of wondered, about this topic.
Yeah.
And it is called The Silent Part of Motocross. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So I wrote an essay and a piece. So my college essay is the one that started it all. My mom ended up posting it on Facebook, and the head of OnTrack, Andrea Lieb, she has helped me out so much through this whole process. She's the reason Racer X wrote the article. So it was just about me talking about my struggles with trying to academically succeed in such a focused sport, focused on the rider. Like the sisters, the little brothers, and the other family members, they don't really have the spotlight on them. And I really struggled with it. And another part I really did struggle with is the bullying in the sport. So I mentioned that in my article as well. I didn't touch on it as much as I did in the piece I wrote for Andrea. But I did talk about it a little, and it's definitely a really under-discussed part of the sport.
Absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
So I know like in the essay you wrote, I think you were in 7th grade, right around when COVID happened. And that was kind of like the pivotal point.
Yes.
Because you were like in the school. Were you in public school?
So we were in a charter school.
Okay.
And my mom was actually a teacher there. She ended up quitting 2 years before we went homeschooled because that's when we had bought Sandbox, and she was having to do so much with that.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. He actually hadn't started racing yet. That was the decision that made us go homeschooled. He was like, okay, I want to do this. He originally played baseball, which polar opposites. But he was like, this is what I want to do. And with COVID, everyone was already homeschooled, so we just stuck with it. Yeah.
So that was the point where I guess your parents were like, hey, so the schools you guys went to spring nationals, right? And it was
It
done.
got shut down.
That was crazy. That was a crazy time in life. Do you remember?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, so that you guys all got out to Freestone, and everything was shut down. And then you that was the pivotal point where you were like, your parents said, do you want to race? Like nationally and do the big races, or do you want to do it for fun, but you're going to have to do homeschool?
And you had to follow along because you're the sister.
Of course. And so we started out with Florida's Given virtual school program. And the change between regular school and virtual school, I struggled with the structure so much. And I had all this newfound freedom. I was like, I don't have a teacher here to make me do my school. So I absolutely took advantage of that. And I ended up falling behind. My grades never fell behind, but I just kind of neglected my school because school isn't something that's really focused on in the sport. Riders don't really focus
They
on
don't
it.
go.
No.
Half the time their
Hardly.
moms do their
Yes.
school.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
And then too, in the article, I know you said that you were bullied, but
Mhm.
because you looked different.
Mhm.
I know you make super cool costumes.
Mhm.
I've seen
Yeah.
some of them.
Yes. Yeah.
So
How
was that?
I was definitely in my awkward phase right as we joined Moto. I had just got braces. It was a whole mess. And I dressed more unconventional than like a regular person in motocross. That's the thing about the sport, is if you're different, everyone is so like-minded. If you're different, you're like a pariah.
Yeah.
Like you will be
Absolutely.
judged, made fun of, everything to the utmost extent. And it's not like it's one group of kids. Like in a regular school, you can have like a group of bullies or a group of people that don't like you. In Moto, everyone shares the same mindset. And even if it's just little jabs, you are constantly being just like bullied
Absolutely.
in little
And
ways.
social media now is super
Oh
easy
my gosh. Yeah.
So
for
who
Apple
is
kids.
who is it, like the siblings at the track? Because I know you were like getting tormented, like
Mhm.
you bully, like
So-
what was going on?
It was just all around siblings, some of the racers who I knew, and even like it got to a point where there were some parents like saying some stuff about me. And it was just absolutely like, I was 13 years old at the time, and I was weird. I'm okay with that. I can still
Weird is
accept
cool.
that. Yeah, weird is cool. It is all our first times living. We're
Yeah.
going to make mistakes. We're going to be weird. And because everyone follows such a specific guidelines of how to look, how to dress, how to act in motocross, I just like shrunk into this little shell, and I felt so terrible and was just at an absolutely terrible spot. And that plus the stress I had going on with school, because the thing that I really struggled with a lot in the homeschool is my teachers didn't understand racing. They didn't understand why we would be gone for so long. They didn't understand why I do no work for like 2 weeks and then submit a crap ton over the span of like 5 days. They were just also really negative. I had some teachers that were like, one of them made me cry the hardest I've ever cried in my life. She told me the way I submitted my schoolwork was lazy. I clearly have no schedule. She thought the way I submitted my school was annoying. And I was just like mentally done at that point, and that was
And
terrible.
Did you start with OnTrack, or then you eventually went to OnTrack because that's based around?
So
Moto?
I did the Florida-based homeschooling program up until this semester. I just switched to OnTrack. I wish I would have done OnTrack
So you're
my
loving
entire
OnTrack
time.
better.
It is incredible.
Because it's Moto.
The teachers are so nice. They're so understanding.
Yeah.
The schoolwork, it's really cool because it can be like based on or involving Moto. Like I know one of the classes they have is like for mechanics, if you want to become a mechanic later in the sport. And that's just something so cool. And they offer like more fun courses, and it's just a more positive school. Like I said, Andrea Lieb, head of OnTrack, she has helped me out so much with all of this, because I do think it is a really under-discussed part of Moto, mental health and the sisters and the other members of the family.
Did you feel like, because your parents are spending
Mhm.
all this money on your
Mhm.
brother, all this attention on your brother, did that, that obviously took a toll, right?
Yeah, not as much as you would think, because I kind of understood. I was like, this is his thing. I totally get that. And I wanted to support him in every way possible. And another thing, I was too scared to speak up.
Yeah.
Like I didn't tell my mom about my mental health until I was about 16. I didn't open up about that. And so I just kind of kept it all to myself because I was so worried about like being a bother.
Yeah.
And what I have come to realize is reaching out, asking for help, or telling someone how you feel, you won't be a bother to a person that cares about you.
So were you doing like other like extracurricular things? Like did you play sports or anything, or I know you were very good academically and you had aspired to be, go to medical school, I think.
Yes.
And yes.
Yes.
So I'm sure that was such a challenge because you're doing you know, you seem like you'd be like their school was like a routine and you strived in that like environment. But then when you went to this homeschool, there's like, it's so much more relaxed. You're not getting challenged maybe. And so how was that like transition at first? And did you have to like give up anything that you were pursuing on your side? I know your brother was in motocross, but
yeah. So the only thing I really missed is we would have this special advanced math program in my school, but I didn't really mind losing that. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. But that just carried over to my classes. I was just in more advanced classes. But like I said, I did okay with the work. I did okay with the grades. It was just the submissions and the fact that, okay, this is all on me. I have to do this. And I hadn't been in school long enough. I was just getting out of middle school when we transitioned to homeschool. And if I had like 1 year in high school, I think that would have helped me a lot. But I just had to teach myself. And it took me a very, very long time. To be honest, I did not take my school seriously, or I didn't submit work like properly and on time until maybe like a year and a half ago, because I was also still struggling so much with my mental health.
You have all this like extra time and like there's no schedule.
Yeah.
So like, of course you're going to take advantage of it. I feel like you know, it's good. Like you're not waking up at a certain time and having to go to school, and people that are like go-getters, like that can be hard for sure. Like a struggle.
Okay. And then you said something about the Sandbox. Your parents, you guys live at the Sandbox?
So for the first year of COVID, there's an apartment connected to the Sandbox shop. That's where we lived because COVID was just so bad. We just stayed up there.
But you moved there from
we live an hour away in this little town. My dad likes to get away from Moto sometimes. So we live an hour south, I think. And they make that commute every morning, which is crazy. But so that first year, we lived at Sandbox, and I think it was a little over a year. And then we moved home, and I was still really struggling then.
So you're still, okay, so I'm trying to go back to the essay. Like you're struggling, and your parents, like they had no clue because they just thought you were just this independent person and you were just handling your business and doing what you're supposed to do. And so then you finally decided to talk to them and tell them how you're feeling. How did that go?
So I got to a point where I was like, I am sitting in bed all day, every day. I am in this hole that I'm not helping myself climb out of. And it was literally just a realization. I had to get to my lowest to realize I never want to be here again. And from that point on, I prioritized school. I opened up to my mom. I asked her to put me in therapy for a little while because there were some things I was really, really struggling with. That helped a lot. And as I started to become more independent, the feeling of completing something on my own, knowing I had no one else to help me, it made doing the next assignment even better. And when I talked to my mom about like struggling with school, all that, the way she received it was like, we had no idea, because I'm someone that keeps my emotions very private.
Yeah.
And it just made me feel so good. And I was like, okay, if I ever need help, she's here. I don't have to hide it anymore. I don't have to struggle.
Yeah.
And
what a cool topic.
Yeah.
I know, like Emily and I have always talked about, like, we're at the track, our kids race, right? So, and I always see this, like, kids running around and like the years go by, and I'm always like, there are parents that balance both, and the ones taking them to soccer if they're into soccer, but some of those kids, they're not doing anything at all because they're
following their sibling
they're sitting around. They don't want to be there. Like they're not racing.
Yes.
And it like makes us sad. Like
they're sitting in the van the entire time.
And they're on like their tablet. And like all these years go by and like they didn't even get to do anything for themselves. And that is so sad and like kind of scary because I don't know, you as a parent,
and then you're different at the track.
Yeah.
So then, like you said, you got the asshole kids.
Yeah.
Just being so rude.
Okay. So let's touch on that because being unique and authentic is super cool.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm glad that you
Absolutely.
still strive to do that,
Yes.
right? Like,
Yes.
don't be a little minion and when all those people wearing the same thing or doing the same thing or being mean because it's cool, because in the long run, you are going to be better off.
And it does affect people.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Always.
Absolutely.
Trying to adapt your personality to match the personality of other people and like follow based off how they're acting, you will grow up. You'll hit like 22 one day and realize, I don't know who I am as a person.
Yeah.
And that's an issue I see with a lot of the new younger girls. The parents kind of just like don't really care enough to help them or guide them anymore. So all these like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old girls are acting like they're 22. And like I saw an 8-year-old posting about her fine shite the other day.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like there's also the term huzz and all that crazy stuff.
Still
it's
don't
like
know what that is.
the person you're talking to. And I'm like, at 8 years old.
Oh, like a companion?
Yes.
Like a boyfriend?
Yes.
Oh.
There are very, very young kids dating. And I'm like, you're going to cause yourself so much emotional trauma at a young age, and you're not going to be able to open up when you're older.
B, why are your parents allowing that?
That. And it's just like crazy, because when I was that age, like I'm not much older than these girls, but the change in the 2-3 years we have in between us is insane. And like looking at some of them, they never had an awkward phase. Like they just went from kid to full grown adult. And like, that's gotta be detrimental to your mental health over time. Like, be a kid, be weird.
Yeah.
In that awkward phase, that's how I found out who I was, what I liked, and how I like to dress. And I'm very unapologetic about the way I act and dress and the things I do. And like these
you're
girls,
so mature. Aww.
Yeah,
Your parents are Miss Beast. Happy birthday, by the way. A big 18-year-old.
Okay, so into like a guy.
There's
the boys at the Sandbox hitting on you.
No,
I'm sure.
No.
Are they scared of your dad? I know, right?
Terrified. Terrified of my dad. But they all. I avoid Sandbox boys at all costs. They're
Moto boys.
Terrible. Not all. There's a kid out here who I think is very cute, but he only snaps me back every like 5 to 7 business days. So I'm gonna.
We'll have to get the deets.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes.
That's for the behind the scenes.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm just more very focused on like building myself up. I'm going to college soon. I'm really into working out. I like a lot of self-care, stuff like that. So if he decides he wants to snap me, whatever.
You hear that?
Quicker than 5 days.
Quicker than 5 days. But I'm good on my own. I'm at such a strong place mentally.
And bringing it back a little bit to the essay, and we'll wrap that up. Your mom found out, and she was like, what was their reaction? Like, how did it come about? Yeah, and were they upset or sad or
less upset at me? They were upset.
Not like mad at you, but like feeling for you. Oh my gosh, we didn't even know. Yeah.
They were upset that I felt I couldn't speak to them.
Got it.
But that's also because I got myself so worked up in my own head that I thought I was going to be a bother, I was going to be annoying, all this. So I was just like, okay, I'll keep it quiet. I'll figure it out on my own. But once I said, hey, Mom, like, I need some help. I'm struggling with school. I'm struggling mentally. I need someone to be there. She open arms, just helped me with everything she could. My dad was the same way. My dad is the one who helps me with my math because him and I are very like-minded and he loves math. And there was so much more support. And it's like, I thought that if I asked, they had no more to give because they were giving so much to my brother. And I realized they had more to give. I just didn't ask. And that was my issue.
That's a good point. And I think it's great too in the essay that you or like telling other people if you're
Yeah.
feeling the same way,
Say something.
say something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Talk about
absolutely.
it. And what a cool topic. And I love the way you ended the essay. It was
Yes.
so
Oh,
cute.
it's my favorite.
Do you want to read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my favorite. Remember, success isn't just about crossing a finish line. It's about learning to navigate the roughest tracks, adapting to every challenge, and proving to yourself that no matter the conditions, you can still come out on top. That's the
Mhm.
best.
It's so good.
Yeah, and I just thought that was very fitting motocross wise. I was thinking about like when a track gets rough, you don't stop. You adapt, you overcome, and that is a lesson I actually implemented into my school and my work, and it's very important to me.
So learning lessons off the track, even though you're
Yes.
not a rider. And how
Yes.
cool that if people, other women or girls or boys or whoever is feeling the same way, hopefully this helps them to
Yeah.
like
Say
reach
something.
out
Yeah.
and say something.
Talk
And you
about it.
mentioned like you're there, you're open if someone wants to talk to you about it
Absolutely.
and like how you feel.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
At any time, like like I said, in school, in the sport, it's not taken very seriously. So for the girls or brothers, boys who do want to succeed, like they need someone to help them along the way, because homeschool is a very it's challenging. You have to implement a routine. You have to be able to judge your own work before you submit it. You don't have a teacher. Every bit of material is learned on your own. So some people need help implementing that. And I think there should be some form of a system or a like talk line or something, or maybe a YouTube video. But just to help out someone who's struggling with the homeschooled life and how different it can be and how involved motocross is with not with school, but how involved you have to be like as a sister or brother.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of time.
Family
Yes.
affair.
It really is. It like transports everyone's life in the family.
Absolutely.
And it's hard to keep up. And it's just, I don't know how people do it. So I was curious. I know you said you're going to college. What are your dreams, aspirations, and like kind of what like a day in your life like looks like right now?
Okay. So my goal is to be a plastic surgeon and have my own private practice.
Hey,
I will. I'll create a list of future customers.
Yes.
Y'all are welcome to come.
All right. You hear that?
But give it about, I think, 8 years,
Oh, is
8
that-
to 12 years.
Is that the schooling?
Yeah, it's 4 years for my bachelor's, and then I think 8 in med school. So yeah,
Well,
but in 12 years, if you want a facelift,
I mean, we're gonna need one
who
by
to call.
then.
But a day in my life right now. So I actually just moved out here from Florida.
Okay.
I'm staying out here for the summer because my parents now manage Elsinore.
Yes.
And so I'm going to be working that. The track isn't open currently, so I'm just helping with some paperwork and forms and stuff like that. But I am staying with Tyler Bierman and Santina, who's my favorite.
Love her.
And so I just wake up every morning, make myself some breakfast. I did some school today. I finished 2 of my classes, which I'm really excited about.
Yay.
And yeah, I just kind of go about my day. Like I said, I like to work out a lot. I like to cook a lot. That's another very important part of my day. And I read. I just like to do very like good for me things, because in the whole process of like learning about mental health and my struggles, I learned that I am the most important person I have, and I have to love myself in order to receive love from someone else. And yeah, I do what's best for me and focus on it.
I wish I had your maturity at your age. Jeez.
Okay, so Elsinore.
Yes.
Back to that. What is the deal with that? Are you guys going to run it like a California Sandbox?
So my dad has lots of plans for it that I don't know that I'm allowed to talk about, but I'll say what I can. The biggest problem with Elsinore that everyone struggled with, the dirt.
Yes.
It was like a highway. My brother rode there 2 or 3 times. We'd come out and stay in California for a month, and he'd say the same thing. The dirt terrible. So the cool thing is, what people forget about my dad is before Sandbox and before Elsinore, he was Dream Tracks.
Yep.
He has built tracks in 6 of the 7 continents. He has built tracks in Japan, like crazy places. On the main square in Russia, he built a track there.
Wow.
And so all these different places have completely different dirt. And what he's learned over time is how to fix bad dirt, because not everywhere has like Georgia red clay or perfect sand or good dirt. And he's really learned to adapt. He has a strategy for fixing the dirt at Elsinore. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about it, so I'm just going to keep that. But yeah, he is definitely
Changing
very
it up,
focused
for
on the
sure.
dirt.
Oh, I'm sure all the SoCal, I know all the SoCal riders
Are gonna be
are
stoked.
so
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But is he gonna run it like a
Training
compound?
facility?
Yeah.
I think for starting out, it's going to be similar to the Cali tracks out here. You come out and ride, because I'm going to be the gate girl there. So if you want to come see me.
Hey, boy.
But yeah, so I think we're going to start out with it like that. I know he's got a few plans for the future that implement some East Coast things.
Yeah. Which is genius.
Yes. Like
A California.
there are
training
no
facility.
training
None.
facilities
None.
out in California, and even I mentioned it to him, and it's funny because it just shows how like-minded we are. I said, Dad, why don't you make Elsinore like a California Sandbox? Like they have no training facilities out there. It's all like you come out and ride whatever, and they don't have like you can have a 450 on the track with a P-dub.
Yeah.
Like that's dangerous and
Crazy.
scary.
Never understood that. Never will understand that. It's
so
bizarre.
Another big thing he's about is safety.
Yes.
So we're definitely going to be implementing a lot of things to do with that. And yeah, I can't wait.
And do you have like an approximate time this is happening?
So within, I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, within the next 3 months.
Oh, wow.
That's great.
Oh, so soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love how you're like such a hype girl for your dad. That's so
Right?
sweet.
Oh,
And your family, and you guys
absolutely.
just all very same.
I've
big supporters
seen
of each other in
I've
general.
seen the work my dad puts in. He wakes up every morning at 5 a.m, drives up to Sandbox, and works till like 7 p.m. I have never seen someone that works as hard as he does.
Like,
That's
he's
long
working
days.
somewhere, flies in to watch your brother Vicky race,
Yeah.
flies back, mom drives. I'm like, this is wild.
He has the craziest dedication I've ever seen in my life. He is so driven, and he's such a perfectionist, and everything he does is fully planned out, and it's so cool to see because, like I said, we share very similar mindsets. So he'll be talking at the dinner table about his plans for like Elsinore and what he wants to do and all this, and I'm like, I plan things out the exact same way. And so it's just cool that him and I have that
They share
mental
that. That's
connection.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the boys at the Sandbox. You're 18 now. Are they coming at you hot? What's the dealio?
So actually, a lot of them, there used to be a lot more older guys there, but a lot of them got hurt, ended up just going and getting jobs. I've only ever got serious with like, I think 2 guys there. One was my first boyfriend, and the other was a situationship that,
A situationship.
oh, you have no idea.
Get
those
all
are the
those out of your
worst
thing
things
now.
on the planet. But I kind of try to avoid them. They'll like snap me and say crazy stuff. I got added to a group chat the other day where they screenshotted something from my public profile and were just talking about it and saying, oh, this is so hot, whatever. Just weird stuff. But I try to avoid them. A lot of them are my really, really close friends, and a lot of them view me like a sister because like they view my mom like a mom when she's always out there. I'm like a sister to some of them. There are a few that are between the ages of like 14 and 16 that I try
all about you. I know a few.
yeah, I try to stay away from some of them because they are wild, but they're hormonal teenage boys.
You don't want no scrub. You need someone,
They're
no scrub. We need someone with their license.
Mhm.
Okay, so then you said you've been kind of into some guys.
Okay. We'll snap a little, we'll talk a little bit. But he's also a racer and he's very focused on his racing. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Which you understand.
Do you think
of
that you
course.
will? I mean, you're young, but like,
Mhm.
see yourself with like someone in the industry in the long run, even though you don't want to work in the industry?
It just depends. Like I'm not someone who like has to date moto people.
Yeah.
Of course, over the past few years I've been in the sport, I can only date moto people.
Easier.
Yeah, because
sure.
that's what you're around.
Also trying to explain why I have 8 guys in my camper at a race is about impossible, and trying to explain that they're all like my little brothers and my
Yeah,
parents own a
for
facility.
sure.
The guys don't get that. And so it's such a weird place because that means I only like can mess with moto guys, and they if hopefully they're starting to mature as I get older as well. But the phase a lot of them are in right now is every guy in moto's an adrenaline junkie. We know that.
Yeah.
They love the thrill of the sport. They love that. And they also carry that off the track and into their relationships. So they'll do anything they can in a relationship to get like a rush. They'll cheat, they'll lie, they'll snap other girls, they'll send stuff they shouldn't be to other girls while
Oh my
fully in a
gosh.
relationship. And it's just like they get a thrill out of it. And that I haven't talked
So
to a guy.
Snap's a problem.
Oh, Snap is a huge problem, but that's all anyone uses.
Oh.
Kids, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
It would be kind of weird if an adult.
Yeah.
I know of one.
Yeah.
I think once you hit once you between the ages of like 25 and 40, you should not have Snapchat. Or no,
Oh, shit.
35. My
Okay.
mom has Snapchat.
Probably to check
Probably
on these
just-
fools.
Or you and your brother, yeah.
love my mom having
Yeah.
Snapchat. We have like a 800-day streak. She's first on my best friends list. And it's so funny. But like if you're like 25 and you're like still using Snapchat to talk to people.
So if you're like a mom and you
Yeah.
like try to add a kid,
mhm.
that's weird, right?
And you like act older and
Okay.
it's strange.
Oh.
There are some weird people on Snapchat. I have been sent things that
I've heard.
I wish I
Is that your main like social that you like do? Or is that how you say it? Social?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's my main thing I communicate with people
Yeah.
on, because
Snap.
no one likes to use text. If you text someone, it takes them 3 days to respond.
Wait,
I may as well
what?
send a carrier
So
pigeon.
you
Snap,
message through
They're
Snap?
like, yes.
Yes.
They send
What?
pics, dick
Yes.
pics, tit pics. It's like a
Who's
Oh.
sending that?
I don't know, man.
Oh,
I just-
you
I'm hearing.
So
weird
nobody
shit.
texts at your
Nope.
age.
not
Are
really.
we
no.
Are we calling each other? Or are we just
No.
snapping?
From
Snap it.
time to time,
Okay.
people will FaceTime. I hate FaceTiming.
This
You're a
bitch be FaceTiming me, and I'm like, girl,
Yeah, dude, what's
Heck
that?
yeah. It's okay between friends, but like
yeah.
I had a guy text me the other day and was like, "What's your number?"
Wait,
and I-
FaceTimed you?
He
To ask your
texted me
number.
on Snapchat
Face
to
snap
ask for my
you.
number, and I was like, "I don't know you. Like, what do you need my number
What?
for?" And he was like, "I want to FaceTime you." Like, and I'm just like, we've never spoken. We have never had a coherent conversation. You haven't said more than 3 words to me except for "What's your number?" Like
Are people like, are they like bullying? Do you get bullied on Snap?
oh my
or
goodness, yes.
Socials?
What's
What's the worst?
So
TikTok is what I've seen. Those kids are little
Mhm.
assholes on
Yeah.
there was a
Oof.
girl, I don't know what she had against me, but about 2 years ago, she just started posting TikTok after TikTok after TikTok
See?
about me, commenting stuff, like
What?
literally about me.
And then other people jump in.
And-
Huh?
yeah.
It's like a whole.
And she's had this whole vendetta against me for like 2 years.
industry?
Yeah.
Does she have a sibling that rides?
No, she rides.
Girl,
oh,
she
rides.
jealous.
Mhm. But
She's jealous.
The only reason I can think she disliked me is I dated this kid before she did. But like usually it's like the crazy ex-girlfriend hates the new girlfriend, not the new girlfriend hates the ex-girlfriend. It made no sense to me, and she's carried it on for years, and I'm just like
Oh,
grow
hater.
up.
Get
I don't know you. I've done nothing to you. And everything like that in the sport, people just hate for no reason
Ugh.
because it's so competitive that even outside the racing side, you still have competition. You have competition
Absolutely.
between the girls, competition between the moms, parents in general. Like
Yeah.
it's
But you don't seem like the person that like, that's not your thought process.
Mm-mm.
Like, because you're
No.
authentic, you don't care.
No.
Do you?
I don't like
No one's in competition.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
you're not in competition with
yeah.
them. They're in competition with
I
you.
don't understand like jealousy. I've never
Yeah.
got it because jealousy is the thief of happiness. That's
Right.
very true. And like I've never really been jealous of someone. Like if someone has a crazy nice car, I'm like, dude, that's so
That's
sick.
sick.
Like
Yes.
I'm
Like,
jealous
you
of
get a
it.
compliment. You're not like hating on them. Like,
People who hate on someone,
insecure.
yeah,
They're miserable
basically,
in
yeah,
themselves.
Which is
absolutely.
fine, and it's good.
There's
Like,
a
you're
lot
so
of people
mature.
like that, though,
It's
in
good to
Moto.
figure that out
Yeah.
younger
Yeah.
because that's just a life lesson in itself. And
Absolutely.
you seem so very secure
Yeah.
with yourself, which congratulations
Yes.
at that age.
Mhm.
Because I don't know what at
Yeah.
18.
But Moto will do that. It makes you.
Yeah, that
You have to have a hard shell.
every
Yes.
single thing. I'm actually very thankful I had the struggles I did
Yeah.
because every single one of them led me to who I am now. And even with the bullying thing, I'm still pretty insecure about like some of the things, the way I look, some simple stuff like that. But there's a difference between being insecure and having no self-respect.
Mm-hmm.
I may be insecure about little things, but I have a very high amount of self-respect. And so I'm not going to let someone walk all over me. I'm not going to let someone lie to my face and just get away with it. I am looking out for myself. And even if like I don't like my hair or I don't like maybe I'm not doing well enough in the gym, that's besides the point. I can still look out for myself with all these little mental weaknesses, but I'm still putting myself first.
Love that.
Mhm.
So during your mental health struggles, how did you cope with that? What were your.
So at first, I was like, I didn't help myself out at all. I just kind of sunk deeper and deeper and deeper. And like I let myself. And then, like I said before, I just reached the lowest and I was like, I never want to be at this point again. So I just started prioritizing doing little things and little steps and little actions, like submitting one assignment. I would go like get myself a drink from Starbucks and be like, I just did that. I'm proud of myself because it's those little victories that can help you take steps towards the bigger ones. And so I'd start with a few assignments a day to where I wasn't overly stressing myself out, but I was still getting myself back into that pattern. And over time, I was able to do more and more and more without stressing myself out. And it all just ended up like now I absolutely adore doing school, to be honest, because like having that routine and like pressing that submit button and knowing I just did good work on that, it's so gratifying.
Yeah.
And any like little victories, that is the way I dug myself out of that hole. It was bit by bit. It was when I was at my lowest, like it was hard for me to get up and eat, like get up and do really simple things. And so I just go bit by bit by bit, get up, grab some food, maybe do some school, read a book, take a bath, have a break, and then go back to school. And it's finding the pattern of whatever works for you. And I can very proudly say that I would not have been as independent as I am and as focused and driven if I hadn't got to that very, very low point. Because I mentioned it in my article, I started seeing my brother succeed in the sport. And I was always the one who succeeded academically. So I was like, wow, like I am now like the failure of the family is what I felt like. So that is what kicked me into gear. And like I said, little by little, I just picked myself up and everything kind of added up and it made me mentally stronger.
That's actually pretty crazy at your age to be able to like process that and get yourself out of that. And so that's really remarkable.
Yeah. it was hard seeing everyone else around me doing so good because Sandbox had just started. We were doing great. Biggie had just started winning some stuff. And I was like sitting there and I was like, I am the only person in this family not acting like a human being. Like, I am a blob at this point in time. I am doing nothing to help myself, nothing beneficial for my future. Like, I have to get up and get my ass to work. And that's exactly what I did.
And I think too, I mean, worst timing. Obviously, it's what prompted you guys to make those decisions. But COVID, like everyone was just going through it. So maybe it's a good lesson too when like you see somebody, you think they're handling things well, but deep
Maybe
down they're going
Yeah.
through it. I think everyone was going through it during that time. Like, it was
absolutely.
crazy. Especially, I can't even imagine being a young adult in school when all that went down.
And the reason I like have got so into this and try to be such a voice for it is I have never met a girl in the sport that hasn't at least once felt the way I felt. And I know I'm not alone in this. It is just so under discussed because everyone focuses on the racers because that's the focus of the sport.
Right.
But there are other people involved in the success of the racer that just get left behind. And a lot of the girls and boys in the sport that don't race, I've seen them just sink into their failure, and they sunk into the fact that they thought they were never going to amount to anything. And that's where I was. And if I hadn't picked myself up, I'd still be there. I'd still be struggling, and I wouldn't be able to speak on it and try and help. Because there are lots of girls in the sport that feel like this. Lots of girls, lots of boys, everyone. And they just need a voice. And if I can help in any way, I absolutely will. And hopefully me speaking out helps them begin to like open up to their parents more, or maybe ask for help from their teachers, because those who do OnTrack, I can't recommend it enough. My teachers have been so supportive and so nice, and they're very guiding. And in speaking about these things, I've kind of got my own like little circle of people who are very supportive. We're all supportive of each other. And it's just so nice to have like some.
So would you say when you went to OnTrack, that's what kind of shifted your the way you were feeling?
OnTrack, it was like the cherry on top to me getting better. Like I said, didn't take school seriously till about 1.5 years ago. So once I started taking it seriously, I was doing a lot better. But my teachers were still like pretty naggy and pretty like, they didn't understand motocross. It is a hard sport to
You're like, I can't do school. I'm on the road.
to someone who isn't in the sport.
Yeah.
Like if you took a random person off the street and brought them to Minios or Loretta's, they'd spontaneously combust.
Yes.
It is insane.
It is insane.
But so that was my only little thing left that was making me struggle. And then I switched to OnTrack and I was like, oh my gosh, my brakes are in line with the big races. Everyone's so supportive. They understand if I can't do school for a week. Like, it made sense to them. And I was like, this is incredible, because now this is the final bit of support I need. And right now, I think my lowest grade is a 94.
Wow.
And like, I love it, and I love doing the school, and I'm actually sad to graduate because like I enjoy it so much. And if I could have taught myself these things and these strategies younger, I mean, that would have been awesome, because I would have enjoyed it so much more. I would have enjoyed the freedom of school and motocross at the same time. But thankfully, I started to understand that sooner rather than later. But yeah,
Are you excited to go back in person and go into a classroom? Especially college, you'll still have that freedom because you only do, whatever, a couple classes a day. But are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, college, I'm so excited for it. Because like I said, I now have the independence. So I know I will be able, if I put my mind to it, I will absolutely succeed to the utmost extent. And like, just being around kids who are academically focused is going to be really cool.
Yeah.
Because like I said, no one in the sport does their school. No one
School
really
is not
cares.
first. Yeah.
Dirt bike is first.
Yes.
And then maybe like food and then girls and then school.
Yeah.
If you have free time.
But how cool that you got to like learn how to manage your time. And so that'll be very useful in college.
So now you're living here in California for
3 months.
3 months.
I think me and my mom are driving back because we have my car out here. If we didn't bring my car, I was going to have to drive my dad's dually, which no, thank you. No, thank you. So she's going to fly out a few days early. We're going to drive back to Florida. And the day we get back to Florida, I think the next day we leave for Loretta's.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be
busy.
Just very, very a lot.
Coming up. Did you, so with OnTrack, I'm sure you've met like friends from the track or siblings or whatever. And so I know, and obviously in the sport, everyone travels together.
Yeah.
It's like a traveling circus. So has that been beneficial? Like you have your little like group now or?
Yeah. So I haven't as much met people through OnTrack. I just now know a lot of my friends. I mean, like, you do OnTrack? And they're like,
so you're at the track. And like,
so we're like, we just make that connection. And like one of my closest friends, he did OnTrack. He's now graduated, but he'll just like talk to me about how the school works. And like when I was really confused at first, he just helped me out with that. Another girl who helped me out a lot beginning with OnTrack, Kinley Graves. She's done OnTrack for a very, very long time, and she helped explain it to me. And she's been a giant help. And just like I said, Andrea, huge help with all that. And like there are kids at Sandbox that I'm like, you do OnTrack? You want to do school together?
Yeah.
Like how's this assignment or how's this class? Or like it's just really cool because it is a motocross based thing, and that can help bring people together.
Yeah, for sure. How much, like, just curious, how much time of school like would you have to do a day, or do you?
Yeah, do you do it weekly?
Yeah, like how is your schedule?
So I like to grind it all out in one day. So usually on Mondays I'll get as much school as I can done. And I'll go through the week in every class and complete it all. Usually that takes me about 7 to 8 hours, and then the rest of the week is clear.
So you can get the whole week done in about 7 or 8 hours most of the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sweet.
That's cool.
Depending on the classes, I know some of them are harder than others. Like I said, I'm in my senior year.
Yeah.
I have a pretty light course load.
Yeah.
So I crank out my school. It's pretty simple. My brother just started OnTrack, and I know he has a lot more to do than I have, because he's only a sophomore, I think. But the workload is very, very flexible, and even if you can't get it done in 1 week, you literally just text the teacher and you're like, hey, like I'm going to be out of town here, or I'm struggling with this assignment or this or that. And they will do anything they can to help you.
That's cool.
So
yeah. You finished 2 classes, you said? So how many?
I'm actually done with 3. I just finished the 2 today. I finished the other one, I think, a month ago. And I only have 4 left.
Oh, wow.
And I know, like, Kinley, like I mentioned, I think she graduates this year, and she's 15, and she is.
That's early.
Yeah, because she's been with OnTrack the whole time.
Oh, wow.
And the cool thing with them, you can finish whenever you want. Like they have a set pace. Like you can go week by week if you want, but if you want to get 3 semesters done in the span of like 4 months, if you grind it out, you can do it, and they're okay with it.
Cool. And so college, you're going to start, you think the next semester or first semester, take some time off and then?
So yeah, actually right after Loretta's, I head off to college.
Wow.
Yeah. Where are you going?
So I'm starting out at Santa Fe because we had an issue with my applications. The application submission site we use that everyone told us to use, my scores never got sent out to the colleges, so my applications were deemed invalid. So that sucks. But my dream school is get into UF. And if my applications had fully gone through, I think I could be able to, but I think it's going to actually work out better because going to Santa Fe, the junior college, it's going to be very good transitionally for me because I haven't been at an actual school for years.
Yeah.
So, going to Santa Fe, it'll be my introduction, and then I'll hopefully transfer over in the spring semester and get into UF, and that'll be like where I go until I finish my bachelor's.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Japan.
You knew that quick.
My dad has been a few times, and he says out of every place he's traveled, that is the one he wants to take us to the most.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. The food, the people, it's so clean. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's just like, it is so completely different from America. He said it was so interesting. And that's where he wants to take us.
Nice. What's your favorite shoe?
Ooh.
Okay. I love my Converse, but my ride or die are Doc Martens.
Okay.
I have a pair that's like, I think we're pushing 7 years old. And they like,
don't get rid of them.
No, keep them.
I got rid of all mine in high school, after high school, and then everything comes back.
Yeah,
just keep that in mind.
I love them. I'll never get rid of them. Those are my
They last
favorite
forever.
track shoes ever.
Oh yeah,
because they're leather, so mud just wipes off. You don't get water in them. They're great shoes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, what is your favorite food?
Sushi.
Mm.
For my birthday, we went to Nobu.
Oh, I love Nobu.
Oh my gosh, it was probably one of the best dinners I've ever had.
What was your gift for your 15th?
It was partially graduation, partially 18th birthday gift. I got a new car because mine was, I think it was almost 5 years old, and it had got to the point where we had driven it so much it almost had 100,000 miles. So it was like at that point where it's like, okay, we have all these things to fix or get a new car. And it would have made more sense to get the new car than to pay probably about the same for fixing it. So yeah, I got a new car.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Exciting.
I love it so much. Yeah.
What is your favorite hobby?
Ooh, okay. So it would have to be between wake surfing or surfing in general and working out. I absolutely adore the gym so much. That's another thing.
What do you do for workout? That was going to be a question.
It helped me a lot with my mental health because you have somewhere to like put all that stress in working out. So originally I used to strength train, and I got to some pretty heavy maxes. I think my last one was I did 210 on squat for 3 sets of 8, which was pretty good. But I recently just switched over to aesthetics-based training. So I want to get myself to look the way I want before I go back into strength training, because strength training isn't very optimal for muscle growth. Okay. So I'm going to go for aesthetics and then maybe switch back over to strength training.
What do you mean? Like, what do you do for that?
So strength training, it's a lot about like hitting maxes and trying to get as heavy of a weight as possible. And so aesthetics-based training, it's a lot less weight. Of course, you're still focused on your form either way, but the better your form is, the more muscle growth you tend to have. And then I'm trying to think of what it's called, where you add little bits of weight by little bits of weight. I just completely blanked. There's a name for it, but I completely forgot it. That helps a lot. And obviously, one of the most important things for muscle growth is how you eat.
Protein.
Lots of protein. I have a very specific diet I follow. And so with the aesthetics-based training, you're doing like more reps than you would with strength training, because strength training, you usually go between like 4 and 8 reps max. But aesthetics based, you between 8 and 12 usually. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think you do more time in between sets and like just little things like that help. I'm not a gym expert. Like, these are just things I've learned over time. But yeah,
Aesthetics.
I know a little bit. I know a little bit. I could have got all of that wrong. I don't know. But
sounded good.
That's what I know, and that's what's worked for me.
Sweet.
Mountains or beach?
Ooh. Well, I live in Florida, so like I've had beaches my whole life. Coming out to California and seeing the mountains is just so unbelievably pretty. Like you drive in Florida and it's like you have a field of grass, a meth head, a bunch of trees, and a gas station. But
it's flat,
here,
right?
Yeah. Here, even if you do have the meth head and the gas station and field of grass, you have beautiful mountains behind it. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Favorite animal?
Oh,
dog, cat?
I very basic answer. Specifically my cat Pluto is like the coolest cat ever. We found her during a hurricane under a bunch of campers at Sandbox. So there were a bunch of little baby kittens, and they were obviously they had been born during the hurricane. And so I ended up keeping one of them. Our old mechanic kept the other two. Those two were absolute train wrecks. But I actually got the cool one, and she is one of the best cats like ever. She's so cool.
Shout out Pluto.
Shout out Pluto. And then we have 3 dogs, which she gets along really well with. Digger, who may be getting given away because he likes to pee on things a lot. Blade, who is a pit bull with a overbite, which it looks like he has dentures. It's so funny. And then Luna, who's a little 2-pound Morkie. She's so
I've
little.
Seen that.
Yeah.
Always, has that one.
She's the sweetest. Yeah.
Cute.
We want to thank you, Reese, so much for being here.
Of course.
Thank you. That was so fun.
Yeah, this was awesome. This was so fun. Definitely.
Very exciting.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think we're just looking forward to bringing more people on the show like Reese and share their stories and the behind the scenes of other women in the industry. And that was really cool.
Yeah.
You had a great story.
Yeah.
And if you want to check us out on Instagram, we're at Gear Up Podcast. And that's it. Thank you.
Cool.